Okay, I am
Yeah.
here. All right, perfect. I'm going to get started. We have a little bit of a delay back and forth. It could be my internet, so we'll keep that in mind. But feel free to chime in or do anything whenever you're ready. Okay, I am here with Leanne
Okay.
Kranz, and we are going to finish out this series recap. We are still finishing the summer recap. We're talking about all of the races that have happened up until now. And I know Leanne has been racing a lot this summer, a lot this season in Canada as an elite athlete. And so she has a lot of things about all of the different races, but specifically, we're going to get into the Ottawa races. And how that went because we just had the Ottawa races. They were fantastic. I loved my time there. And we're just going to get into that discussion. How has your race season been going so far? And tell us a little bit about what's been going on for you this season.
Yeah, so my race season's been going pretty well. This year, I'm mainly focusing on the ultra distance. So I did the Mont Tremblant Ultra. I did have plans to do the Kelowna Ultra, but of course, like that ended up getting canceled with the forest fires.
Hmm.
So my next race is going to be in Killington. But
Amazing.
as for Canada, I did the Brimacone Sprint as kind of just a way of kind of getting my hands dirty and seeing if there's anything I specifically needed to work on before I hit Mont Tremblant. And then I also just did the Calabogie race weekend where I did 2 laps of the super and then also one sprint lap as well too.
Yeah, because it was not a trifecta weekend. So, and two laps of the super for anyone that's watching or listening. So that's basically two 10K rounds. So what made you decide to do that?
Between my coach and I, we decided to do 2 laps of the super just to kind of give me that ultra simulation and really practice my pacing and my fueling and really working on all my weaknesses and seeing what I still need to work on and really getting that elevation gain and working with or working on running on flat terrain and going up and down and stuff like that.
So, what would your A race be then? Meaning, for anybody listening who's new to this, which is your A race coming up, or have you had that already this season?
So my A race was Mont Tremblant.
Hmm.
And then my next A race was supposed to be Kelowna, but since it's canceled, um, there's really no other A race left for me. It's more so just for me to get more ultra training in and doing as many ultras as I can, but in the meantime, not getting tired and overworked. So I guess my next A race is going to be Killington.
Amazing. And that's coming up really shortly, in September,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
so I guess you were not planning that one, and then all of a sudden, unfortunately, plans change due to the wildfires. But so that's
Yeah.
amazing. So when you decided to do the two supers, was your plan complete training, or did you have a bit of I'm going to be competitive with the first race and then chill on the second race, or what was the strategy? And did you stick to it?
Well, so going into the race weekend, my first thought was to go basically I'll run home on my first lap and then go kind of chill on my second. But then the closer I got to the start line, the more I changed my mind where I wanted to really pace myself and try and keep my laps as close together as possible regarding time frame. And I think I actually did my second lap. I think it was about 7 to 8 minutes faster. So
Oh,
I think like all the padded down terrain for that.
ah.
So
But not only that, because usually people, especially if it's your first or your second or even your 10th, for something long distance, your split is going to be, most people are doing a slower second sprint in it. Split in that case. So that's kind
yeah,
of awesome. Even if it was padded down a little bit, you got to give yourself a little bit of kudos for being
Yeah.
able to pace yourself and control that. I know I have like that's kind of my goal because I'm kind of new to it. So I'm always trying to, okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. But that's really hard. Do you find that hard as well?
It is very hard, especially like when you're with the elite girls in the super. Like you want to like keep up with them so badly, and I really did, and I did. I think for the first maybe, oh gosh, I guess it was like the first hill climb, and then into the wall. But then I was like, you know what? I can already feel it to where like my heart's already pumping out of my chest. Like I gotta slow down. It was very hard. Like it was very hard.
Because that is it's a very different race, a 10K from the ultra. In the ultra, I mean, for myself, I'm just talking myself down the entire time from running too fast. That I feel like that's all I'm doing is okay, 1 foot ahead of the other, but also go slower, go slower. In a super, when everybody else is racing around you, that was full speed, that super. I also was in that as well, and people were running fast and running downhill fast. And so
Yeah.
think that would be hard. So you ended up running elite for the first round too. So,
Yeah.
well, good for you. That's impressive to be able to do that. So was your coach very happy and impressed that you were able to do that? What was the feedback after that?
Yeah, he was actually very happy. I met him in the parking lot, and I even surprised myself by doing my second lap faster than my first because I thought for sure I was going to be slower. Because doing 2 laps of the super, it's very obstacle heavy compared to doing the ultra. Like there's more space
Hmm.
between obstacles. But yeah, I didn't expect my body to be as tired as it was after the 2 supers, believe it or not. Yeah, like my forearms were on fire by the end of my second lap.
Oh,
But
okay. And
yeah, no,
so,
he was very happy with how I did. There's just a few things that we're going to work on. Basically, wet obstacles, because the second lap, the obstacles were wet compared to when I went with the elite girls, which I
okay.
found very odd.
Was it raining on the first day? I know I left in the afternoon. It did rain a bit, so maybe that was part of it, or just muddy hands. And I
Maybe
mean,
muddy hands, the dew. I'm not sure.
yeah, because it seemed pretty dry. I would have come right after you guys running an age group, so I would have been in the morning too. It seemed pretty dry, but then some of the pictures that I saw, there was a bit of rain, and so that could have been a factor. And it's a whole different race when it's wet. It is. The last time I even did monkey bars in Tremblant when they were wet after round two, I was like not I failed the monkey bars, which is for me personally not a thing that I would do. And then so when I approached in the 10K super, I was like, "Oh, do I have a problem with monkey bars?" And no, it wasn't. It was just that they were wet. So whole
Yeah.
different ball game. So how do you
Oh,
manage
yeah.
that? Do you wear gloves or do you just try to train more or do you train in the wet?
So actually my coach has given me some I guess workouts to do. So basically like I drenched my hands in ice cold water, hold them there for maybe about 30 seconds, and then I have monkey bars at my house and I would go back and forth as many times as I could, doing dead hangs, stuff like that. But when I got to Mont Tremblant, it was a whole other ball game because it was just raining constantly and it was blowing and it was cold.
Yes.
So I definitely failed a lot of obstacles that day, more than I ever had, probably.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know for you if it was the same, but round two was like, am I even able to do anything?
Yeah,
Very much
it was the
harder.
exact same for me.
So that's great that he's got that. You can give a shout out to your coach if you'd like to as well now. Go for it because he's a Canadian runner as
Yeah,
well.
he
But
is Sean from Outlaw OCR. He's my coach. Hey, Sean. Thanks for your programs. They've helped me so much in the elites. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working you down the road.
yay. And I know his athletes because I follow him on Instagram, did really well, including yourself. I saw a lot of podium finishes, including, did he have a podium finish as well? Am I correct on that?
In Calabogie?
Yeah. Was he running?
Yeah, he He got third in the sprint on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought I'd saw that. So that's pretty awesome. So yay, good job. But that's quite
As
a
well
that
as Susan too, another fellow teammate of mine. She actually placed both days, which was really awesome.
yeah, that's fantastic. Um, did you do the 5K in the elite as well? So this is after day one. Your arms are sore. You're probably tired, maybe not though, because I see some of the things you train to do. So I feel like you have some pretty strong legs. But how was it the 5K the next day? Were the arms back to being okay, or were you still tired? How did that go for you in the 5K?
So actually I didn't race the sprint on the Sunday. I actually had plans on racing the trail. But unfortunately, what happened is probably every OCR racer's nightmare, runner's nightmare. I forgot my trail runners at home. And we were already about 10 minutes from the venue once I realized I didn't have them in the car with me. I was just wearing sandals.
Oh my goodness. That actually is probably the worst nightmare for a trail runner. You're right. It's the shoes. You can make do with anything else there. And as much
Yeah.
as it would be great to just grab a pair of shoes at the venue, which I've personally done, it doesn't always work. And I know you're training for a
Mhm.
long-term thing, getting blisters and things probably isn't in your best interest. But you did start the
No.
trail. You started the trail. Whose
I
shoes were you wearing?
I was actually wearing my mom's trail runners. But unfortunately, she's about a size and a half bigger than me. But I figured, you know what, I'll try them, give it a try, see what happens. I think I made it. I don't even know how far I made it. Maybe 1.2K, one and a half, and then like it just didn't feel right on my feet. I had already flipped, I think maybe a couple times, just because it was just so long at the end. And I just decided to turn around because it wasn't really worth me injuring myself and jeopardizing like the rest of my OCR season.
For sure. And I find that's another thing, an ego thing almost, because your brain as an OCR racer is, oh, I just got to do everything. I can do it. I don't need shoes. I can do whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
then your your smart athlete who's being coached and has a plan brain should kick in and say, no, is it worth it to ruin my feet now for Killington? Because if you get blisters, those could go on for a while, depending on the severity of them. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of things. Yeah, foot care is a big deal in OCR. We should do a whole episode on that, actually. I
yeah.
know for Tremblant, I don't know what you did in the middle. We'll flip back and forth because I this is an
Yeah.
interesting question for me to know. Did you change your clothes at the halfway point, or did you just keep running in the same shoes? What did you do?
Actually, I kept my same shoes on. I didn't even change my socks. I was in and out of transition. It took me about 3.5, 4 minutes to be in and out. So I made sure I
Nice.
was quick.
And have you done ultras before, or is this your first year competing as that your main race?
So this is the first year I'm competing in it as my main race, but I had done two back in 2022. So my first one was New Jersey, and then my second one was actually in Kelowna.
Okay, so New Jersey, I would assume, is it more flat than Kelowna? Or
Yes, I would.
okay.
Actually, I'd have to look at it. It's a lot of like up and down in New Jersey. It's got basically a mixture of everything, kind of like Kelowna did.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd have to look at the elevation for New Jersey because I'm actually not quite sure on that.
And is it your first time going to Killington coming up?
Yes.
Okay, so what have you heard about Killington and what do you know? I want to know myself personally. And for
So
any,
I've heard
sorry,
it's
I'll give a little preface to be for anyone who's listening who is new to Spartan. Killington is kind of like the flagship race. It's the one that everyone talks about. It's one of the first races. It's got some of its own obstacles that are only there. It sometimes has a swim, and it's in September, so that could be cold as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts pre-Killington.
So I've been told it's probably the toughest course in Spartan. I've been told about Death March. I've been told about the swim, which, by the way, I hate swimming. I really do. Even though I live along the water, I hate swimming. My idea of
Uh-oh.
swimming is sitting in a floaty or jumping off a water trampoline. So,
That's
but
not
yeah, like,
swimming.
no. I've heard they have like really long carries, and they can be
Hmm.
pretty brutal. What else I've heard? Again, yeah, pretty steep climbs, technical terrain. Those are the main ones I've been told.
Yeah. And so that's coming up in a few weeks now. How will you adjust your training now that it's not Kelowna and it's now Killington? Or will you just keep it the same?
So my coach has me doing more incline work, just a little bit more this week, and then after Sunday we're going to be doing I guess a 2 week deload before Killington.
Awesome. And what does a deload week look like for you? And for anybody listening, this is really important. Not everyone does deload weeks. I do because it supports my body so much and they've worked so well. But some people just go and go and go until they can't anymore. But what does yours look like?
So on this coming Sunday, my long run is going to be 30K, and from then on, my runs start getting I guess less and less in duration and less distance.
Hmm.
I think my coach is going to have me, I think probably at maybe about 13K for my last long run. So it's going to be relatively short compared to my other long runs.
Hmm.
My workouts are going to be cut into pretty well 2 sets instead of the 4. My specific climbing days are going to be cut to maybe 30 minutes instead of 60. Same with my stair climbing, it's probably going to be cut to maybe 15, 20 minutes instead of the 40, 45.
Yeah, so just taking a lot of load, but still keeping active as well. And what does your training look like? Are you training 7 days, 5 days a week, seven, hopefully not seven, but
No, no, no. I train basically 6 days a week. I do have one day where I don't train at all. I'll do some stretching, some mobility work, but other than that, it'll be 6 days a week of training and one day off. I always make sure of that.
yeah, it's so important to rest your body, especially with the loads and everything that you're doing. So if Ottawa was more of a training race for you, did you have a little bit of a break week or anything? Did you slow down at
Oh,
all?
Brantley, hold on. Brantley, turn the light on, buddy. Thank you. Shh. I'm doing a Zoom call, buddy. Why
It's
did you
okay.
shh? I'm doing a Zoom call.
Maybe we can ask him what he thinks about his mom doing all these crazy Spartan races.
Here, you want to answer her? Sure. Okay. She's got a question for you.
Yeah, what do you think about your mom being able to do all the training that she does and go to all these cool races and then also be a mom? What's that like for you?
I don't know.
How old are you?
9.
Okay, I was going to say, I bet he's 10. That sounds like a 10-year-old's response. Do you do Spartan races too, or are you just kind of watching your mom?
I do Spartan races too.
Cool. Did you do the one that just happened, or did your mom go by herself? The one in Ottawa, Calabogie?
You're with your dad.
I was with my dad.
So you missed
Nice.
it.
That's okay. Are you going to go do the one in that's coming up in Ontario, Blue Mountain? Are you doing that one this year?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you out there. That's super exciting. You have to be able to chase your mom at some point.
Yep.
That's awesome. I love it's so great that a lot of our racers, elite athletes, their moms, they've got jobs or they're busy people, just kind of showing that you can be anything and still get stuff done if you want to, right? You can find that
Oh
training
yeah.
time. Yeah. Do you have
Yeah, like a lot of
what
my
Mhm.
sorry.
Go for it. You were just about to
Oh,
say something.
yeah, like a lot of my training, I'm pretty well training at about 4:30 in the morning is when I start just to get it in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty early.
Yeah, that is very, very early. I'm very envious of people who get up early and do it. I'm usually the one who waits till I'm done all of the things and regrets that life choice. So you are a mom, obviously. What do you do on top of Spartan racing and momming?
I do have a full-time job as well too, and we do a lot of stuff together. He does train as well. We have our own like little monkey bars. We have, I think, a couple walls to climb and tires to flip. So he also does training as well with me. We live on a farm, so we're pretty busy as well too.
That's really cool. It's so great to have your own little playground in the back, and I have seen that on your Instagram. It looks really, really cool. So are you going to prep for the swim coming up in Killington?
I guess I'll kind of have to. I'll probably go and maybe do a few laps around our water trampoline or something, but I'm not sure if they're going to make us wear life jackets. They probably will, which makes it awkward in general to swim with.
Yeah, but also
Safety wise,
safer.
right?
For
Yeah.
sure when you've got that many people going. And has it been determined whether there will be a swim or not? Because I know it goes, but I've heard back and forth that there might be or there might not be.
If there is, just buy flippers. You'll win.
There's always a good solution from somebody who is a child. You just ask a child; they'll give us the right things to do. Also, if you want to learn how to use monkey bars and all of the obstacles, just go watch a kid in the park.
I can do it fast.
I bet you can. You know what? The thing for you too is to always do it, no matter what age you are, because if you never stop doing it, you'll never stop being able to do it. The problem with us adults is we have to go relearn that stuff because we took some time off doing maybe adult things. So don't grow up. It's a trap.
You're not having any chocolate right now.
There we have it. It's the life of a Spartan racer, elite athlete, full-time job, full-time mom. She gets it all done. Leanne does. Well, the good thing is though that a lot of people who are listening and watching do have kids as well too. So it's nice to see other people with kids in the same kind of situation, trying to figure out how to balance all of the things that we balance. Do you put your training first? Is that something that you do, or is that kind of just thrown to the side? Like, how do you prioritize that?
So like with my training, it obviously like it is my main thing, but of course like my son comes first and my job comes first as well too. So like sometimes I'll have to make adjustments in my training, like I'll have to switch, I don't know, leg day with arm day just because I have more time that day and things like that. So of course like my training schedule for the week doesn't always stay those same days. Sometimes I'll have to swap them.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for people to be okay with, because a lot of people, athletes in general, are very type A with everything. And if it says, if I've been told to do it on Monday, then Monday it is. But that's just not really how things work a lot of the time. So just knowing that, and then some days you miss a training or two, and it literally, it might not, it doesn't do anything, like it's not going to make you lose a race. It's not, so it's the consistency over time, getting it done as well.
Well, like even just this past Sunday, like I was supposed to do a 27K run, but I had a really bad sleep that night. I was up every hour on the hour, and I think I got maybe 20K in, and I had to call it quits because I had no energy. And I told my coach, and I was like, is this a deal breaker? And he's like, gosh, absolutely not. You have lots of mileage on you. Like, don't even worry about it. So, I mean, it's really not the end of the world if you get your whole run.
Yeah, absolutely.
One training doesn't make or break.
It's so true. And I think we all kind of have to remember that when we're in the midst of our, like, I got to get this done, I got to get that done. But a really good coach will be like, yeah, it literally doesn't mean anything because you've been training, like you've done an ultra this year. Like you look at training in a year block, like there are micro blocks, there's macro blocks and then there's yearly blocks. Like it's not just one day make or break, but I guess that's with everything in life too, right?
Yeah.
You can have a messy house sometimes too. It's okay. Mine's my car. Awesome. So what made you I know you race elite. Is this your
And my car
first?
too.
Yeah, oh, you got to have somewhere to put stuff, right? Is this your first elite year racing, or have you been racing in elite more than this year? How's that? How did that go for you? When did you start racing in elite?
I started racing in elite. I believe it was 2021. I had my first elite race weekend. I believe Mountain actually. The beast definitely didn't go as planned. I did not have fun. My back was sore. Like it was probably like the worst of my life, honestly, that day. But then I did elite during the super and the sprint the following day. I got third both days, and then the following seasons passed with age group, I had to do the upgrades every single time, and so that gets costly quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I picked to choose which ones I was going to receive, which ones I was just going to stay age open. So I was kind of bouncing back and forth last year for that reason mainly. But this is the first year I'm strictly doing it.
That's great. And how do you find racing in the elite category? Are you hoping that others will join you? Because we've had this conversation a few times on the podcast about joining elite and why someone should go into elite and, you know, when should they go to elite? And so why did you decide to go to elite in the first place? What made you jump there?
Well, so what made me jump back in 2021 was I wanted to basically compete with the best, right? You learn from the best, they better you, all that stuff. And as well too, if you're thinking about joining elite, just join your first race, learn them. I'm still learning from them. There's always stuff to learn in elite. If you're being in every single race that you're in, you should elite. Like that's my opinion, but
I feel a little called out.
Oh.
Because and it is true. I do think about joining, and I love, like, the race looks really it looks kind of intimidating, but also it looks really amazing. Everyone looks like they're really serious and hardcore about it, and just even trailing that group I think is phenomenal to be able to do that. And I know you don't do that. I know you tend to podium or mid pack, like your races, you're up there. So but you know, I think trailing is just as good.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to encourage more women to
absolutely.
do that. I wonder if there's a way to encourage more female athletes
Pardon?
to do elite, if there's a way to encourage everyone to do that.
Yeah, like honestly, like I tell girls that like if I'm trying to like again like fine, right? Like, we're all very welcoming in that sense. Like we'll always hug you, we'll always say hi, we'll always introduce ourselves to you, we do a good race, give each other hugs, things like that. Like we'll never ever tell you don't belong. Never.
No, I couldn't see that. I could not see that in that group of people, especially I'm sure a lot of people who are interested in Spartan follow everyone. It just does, they don't give off that vibe. It's not even the men's elite seems pretty tight as well too. So all right. So that means for anyone who is podium in age group these days, we're all going to make a little jump and see what happens. We'll fill up those elite races, and we'll try and see if we can see Leanne in the distance there. Now, what
Give
are
it a try.
What are
That's
your
all you
strengths
got.
as a
Just
runner?
try. And if you don't like it, you can go back to age group.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. It's always there for us. What is your strength?
Definitely.
So I know for Ottawa, just to finish the recap here, Ottawa for me, what I saw it as big hills, lots of leg stuff, but then what I liked is it had some really great runnable downhill, which I love running downhill. That's where I feel like I shine there. And then it also had some flats. So does that play to your strengths as a runner, or what kind of course is your best running course?
Um, so my strengths are definitely the uphills and the downhills. I'm good with constantly going up and down. Unfortunately, the flat running is where I tend to lack. So that's again where we were kind of just trying to strengthen a little bit. But yeah, so the longer the climb, the better.
So your strengths will shine then in Killington, because that's a lot of uphill and a lot of downhill. And would you say you would rather
I'm
have,
hoping.
do you like the technical stuff? Would you like to, the risk of danger kind of running, or do you like to just kind of give it all that you have and full send down the hill?
I definitely try to do full send down the hill. I'm hoping that it's a good landing. So
yes, it's like you have it in your brain to go as fast as you can down that hill, but then your other brain is like, okay, but also be careful. So it's like two brains fighting, I find, going down those. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad that we got to talk about Ottawa. It's great to catch up with you. It was nice seeing you at the races. I enjoy watching the women go off in the morning. I find that really inspiring, but also that you will be at Killington as well. So we will watch for you at that. So if you enjoyed our episode, please give us a like and a follow and comment what you'd like to hear about next, or comment and find out what Leanne's doing as well. And we will be watching for your results and a race recap too. I love race recaps. I don't know how you feel about them, but I love everyone's race recaps. The good ones, the bad ones, everything. Awesome. So on that note, we will probably end it there. And yeah, it was really nice speaking with you, Leanne. That was awesome.